Hey Townies, I'm Jessica.
I'm Amelia.
I'm Lauren, and I'll be your lead investigator this week as we dive into your favorite, maybe not so favorite, most notorious cases right here on the Talk of the Town.
Woo!
Yay!
Yes, our first episode! It's our first episode!
So exciting!
Sorry, my yay sounded really unenthusiastic, but I'm glad to be here. Like I promise. I promise.
We're really happy to be here. We're really pumped.
But real quick, before we get started with this week's episode, which is super exciting, if you like what you're hearing from the 4-second intro that we just did, go ahead and give our Facebook page, The Talk of the Town, a like. Follow us on Instagram at Talk of the Town Pod, and on Twitter, Talk of the Town with 2 L's in talk, because Talk of the Town was taken, and I prioritized the most important letter.
Love that.
Obviously the L.
Love that. There's mention of bombs and plane hijacking, so for anyone who's bothered by that, I guess this is your warning.
There you go.
That's about it. That's all I can think of.
Okay, awesome,
Yeah.
perfect. Now, without further ado, happy Saturday. Get comfy in your favorite sleuthin' chair. It is time for some cold brew and cold cases. So let's dive in. So this week, we're kicking things off with our very own Get to Know Us series, True Crime Edition. So we'll be discussing the first cases we've ever heard about that first got us into true crime. So here's the backstory about my case that I've been so excited to tell you guys that I haven't told you yet. So I found this case when I was in the 3rd grade, literally grade 3. A literal child, and I was in the library because I loved reading, loved books, still do, and there was this book on conspiracies and things like that. So I was like, okay, little Lauren was like, let's give it a read.
Juicy.
And so I'm flipping through, and I get to the case of D.B. Cooper, which is the case we're going to be covering today, and it was this whole thing about how he survived and landed in this woman's backyard and married this woman, and they lived this whole life, and she was super sus that he just ended up in her backyard but didn't ask any questions, and then on his deathbed he was plot twist, I'm D.B. Cooper, and then just died. But she anyways, and I remember going to my mom, I'm like, oh my god, Mom, listen to this, and she's like, Lauren, it's a conspiracy, that doesn't mean it's true, it's not real, everything you read doesn't actually happen. And that's when I learned that Disney wasn't actually true. But
that's a sad realization to come to as a kid. Oh my goodness.
Thank you. It was a very harsh reality, and I'm still coping with it to this day. So if you it's okay, whatever. As you could probably tell, we are covering the case of the mysterious skyjacking of D.B. Cooper, as seen in the HBOMax original documentary, The Mystery of D.B. Cooper. So, let's dive in, shall we?
Yes.
Let's dive in. Get your fork and knife, because this is a juicy, sizzling case.
It's juicy. It's very juicy. So, let me set the scene, okay? 1971. November 24th. An afternoon. Okay. A nondescript man, comes to Northwest Orient Airlines in Portland, Oregon. He used cash to buy a one-way ticket on flight number 305 bound for Seattle, Washington. So he appeared to be a quiet man in his mid-40s, very well dressed, business suit, black tie, white shirt, to the nines kind of deal. When he was on the plane, he ordered a bourbon and soda. while the flight was...
Sounds like a fancy gentleman. He seems like the type to like, get me my cigar, get me my bourbon and soda. Like he seems like one of those. I don't know why, but my aesthetic for him is like 30s film star. Like, come on, get a load of this, Patty. Like, I don't know.
He kind of...
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
You sound like Mae West.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Like Alaska doing Mae West.
Alaska doing Mae
on.
West. Exactly. Exactly. But to me, he just, at this point, he's kind of like a wannabe Bond villain. You know what I mean? Like
I feel that.
Bourbon and soda before the plane even takes off kind of moment, which we love. Anyways. So he waited for that while the plane was taking off. And a short time after 3 o'clock, he hands the stewardess a note. And because of just how she's experienced her work, she's used to being hit on and being given numbers and stuff. So she was kind of like, yeah, okay, like, thank you, like, went to put it away, and she started walking away, and he was like, oh, I think you might want to read that. I have a bomb.
What?
Yeah.
Nice. Just casual. Just like
damn it.
write it. It's kind of like that, like you write a little note on like a sticky note in class in the 3rd grade, and then you pass it to your friend.
Me, yes or no?
Yeah.
Check yes or no.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, it's not even that. It's like, oh, you should probably read that. It's like a bomb threat. It's like, why would you expose yourself like that, dumbass?
Literally, like, you wrote the note. Like, that's all you need. Like, you literally wrote it in a note, but... And so, the note basically just went in saying, hey, besties, I have a bomb in my briefcase.
Hey, besties!
Can you tell I'm, like, really good at dealing with this stuff?
Love that.
And he wanted the flight attendant to come sit with him, so, she did what she was told,
No, I mean, what are you going to do? Just, like, he's threatening to detonate a bomb on you. Like, you kind of got to listen to him.
You could just be like, no, and, like, eject him off the plane, but, like, that's not humanitarian or whatever, so, or humane, not humanitarian, hello.
I mean,
English.
it's also not humane to, like, threaten to bomb a plane.
Right, so then I feel like it would be, like, a morally gray area, where if he just so happened to fall out of the sky, like...
Right.
Whoopsie.
It's just like,
it just becomes like a whoopsie.
Accident, the door accidentally flung open, he accidentally fell out,
What a full circle moment.
No, and she gets interviewed, like, I'm sorry guys, I'm just such a Sagittarius. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm just such a Sag. So, she did what she was told, and she sat next to him, and as she sat next to him, he opened this really cheap, like, briefcase. Like, it didn't, like, it was just, like, a cheap kind of thing, and showed, like, her this glimpse of the mass wires and red color sticks, like a road runner, like, coyote making a dynamite bomb, and was like, you better write down what I tell you. So she started walking. She had, like, right after that, she got up after she'd written it down and went with the new notes, because he didn't want to write this one out and then say it out loud. Good for him, don't spoil the action. And so she started walking with this note to the captain, and basically the note was just saying that he wanted 4 parachutes and $200,000 in $20 bills. Which was...
Wait, come again?
Yeah, so he wanted 4 parachutes and $200,000 in just $20 bills. So I don't know, right off the bat, it's
I feel
weird.
like that's excessively flashy. Like,
literally.
Cash money, bitches. Like, why?
Not
like,
even
what,
that.
Are you gonna make it rain?
We don't even need to go...
What?
We need to just dial it back to the 4 parachutes. Like, you're one person. Like, why do you need
He
4
wanted to make sure he
parachutes?
made a safe landing.
I mean, but that's the thing. Parachutes are a tricky deal. Parachutes are a very tricky deal, and I'll get into that later with, like, the whole survival theory. But yeah.
You're not going to know until you pull it and it doesn't work.
Word.
So, like, why do you want 4? Like, are you going to latch somehow, like,
And
all 4 and just pull them
aren't
each and see what
parachutes in, like, backpacks? So how are you supposed to wear 4 backpacks?
Well, I mean, that also depends on the parachute and the whatever. We can get into that later. Don't worry about that. But, like, maybe, here's my thing. Maybe he was like, I want to take my homies with me. And he's like, 1 for the pilot, 1 for the co-pilot, 1 for the stewardess, 1 for me.
But why would you want to bring, like,
I don't know.
Why would you want to bring witnesses?
I don't
Why would
fucking
you
know.
want to bring
I
them
genuinely have no
with
clue.
him? That's the thing. So, like, that's what doesn't make sense to me, because why, if people are like, oh yeah, he'll take, like, the crew with him, why would he do that? Because then they know where he landed, they know where he's going. They know the area. They have some sort of sense of what might be in his brain. So if any of them manage to get away, like he's done for. So why?
There's genuinely a lot of things that I don't think he thought through. The whole, hey ma'am, you should probably read my note. Like, why would you expose yourself like that?
Literally.
The 4 parachutes, the everything in $20 bills.
Yeah.
Like, man's really is asking to get caught, and then somehow magically no one did. But I don't know.
What's with all these people asking for specific amounts and specific bills?
swear
By
to
the way,
God.
'cause this happened in the John Bonet case as well.
Yeah,
That's
him
very
and John
true.
Bonet,
Like,
him and John Ramsey for sure. They talked for sure.
They went over a few things. So he also wanted the plane to go to Mexico City, which was another strange thing. So the flight landed in Seattle, and because they were like, oh, we don't know if we want to like give you these things because there are people on board, and they ended up making like a deal. So when the flight landed in
What was the original destination of the flight though?
the original destination was Seattle.
Ah, okay, cool.
Yeah. So, they eventually reached this thing where the flight landed in Seattle, and he exchanged the 36 passengers on the flight for the money and the parachutes. And he, again, the man identified himself as D.B. Cooper, and he kept several of the crew members, and then the plane took off again for Mexico City. And the really strange thing about this is that he knew how much fuel the plane had and like would need to like get to like Mexico City. So they were beforehand they were doing like circles above to like before it was like okay to land. And then he's like, oh, I know you won't run out of fuel. Like, I know you have enough fuel. So he knew how much fuel the plane had in order.
How did he know that?
Google? I don't know. Like,
This was the 70s, Miss Ma'am. They don't have fucking Google.
Interesting.
encyclopedia?
That's an interesting detail, though.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. Like, he must have known what kind of plane this was, and maybe, like, it was researchable by maybe like an actual physical book encyclopedia.
Yeah.
Because it was known. It was in the FBI reports what kind of plane this was.
Yeah.
But, like, even still, I feel like I've heard of different kinds of planes, and I still don't know how much mileage or the gas, like fuel they have, like how much fuel capacity they have. So I don't even know. Like how would he know that? You know?
Do you actually know? Do you have it written down? I don't think I wrote down what the make of the plane was.
The plane was a Boeing 727
Mm.
of what I can recall and based on research.
Okay.
Which I have details more about that on like more for like the survival theory purposes of things, but like if you want that's that. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, yeah. Because, like, my grandfather pilot, both my parents, airline. Like, I was literally born into an airline family, so this case is also very, like...
Yeah, no, for sure.
me. So, okay, Boeing, that... So, flight landed, Seattle. Woo, everyone's okay. Exchanged. Kept some of the crew, though, and back uppity up we went to set course for Mexico City. So, somewhere between Seattle and Reno, like a little after 8, he wanted to jump out of the plane. Well, first he wanted to activate like the slide kind of deal, open the back door, get the slide, go down. And so the crew noticed that he was like kind of nervous and like a little, so they could kind of tell that maybe he didn't fully know what he was doing.
Yeah, everything about this is like he didn't know what the fuck he was doing.
No.
That's genuinely what I think.
No, literally no clue. And so when he tried to open like the back and get it open, like it wasn't working, and everyone's up in the cockpit, so like we don't want to go near this guy who has a bomb, thank you very much.
Right.
And so eventually he got the door open, and he was just gone.
Well,
Literally just gone. Jumped out the back of the plane with the parachute and the ransom money. The plane landed safely, but Cooper disappeared into the night, and no body was ever found. No parachutes were ever found. I don't think money was even found.
money was found. That's the part I find really juicy about this. But we can, yeah.
Was it
It's
found?
a very
Was it
fun-
found on site?
It was, I forget where exactly the location was, but they did find a briefcase that matched the description of the flight attendant
Yeah.
and stuff. I can't remember where, but it was some wooded area somewhere.
Yeah.
That this, I think it was a kid. He like stumbled upon it. He's
yeah,
like, whoa,
it
there's
was in
Yeah.
1980. An 8-year-old boy found 290 $20 bills
Yeah, so
in the
1980.
Columbia River.
290
So,
$20 bills.
What I just meant
On the
by
Columbia River.